It took me years to work out it's okay to speak to a more senior decision maker within the company that I was doing business with.
If I was trying to advise a brand new startup agency right now, one area that you could look at is around that compliance piece.
There is a data point that sits in your market that perfectly describes why your business exists.
Think about what you love to do in the business. If you're at the sales side, you want to start looking at getting a resource for your outsourced partner.
I'm Nitin Sharma, you're watching RecTalk, and I've got some recommendations for you. My first recommendation for you is Ascen. Ascen are a modern employer record built specifically for contractor recruitment businesses. Ascen helps teams scale fast and stay compliant across the US, Canada, and globally with an all-in-one white label EOR platform. From onboarding and payroll to workers' comp and benefits, Ascen handles the entire back office so you can focus on your clients and the talent. To learn more about them, check the link in the description below. My next recommendation is Think in Circles. Job ads are not marketing. AI won't save a bad strategy. Most recruitment agencies and RecTech businesses are failing because they lack activity. They're failing because their marketing's got no clarity, no positioning, and no consistency. That's where Think in Circles comes in. They were built specifically to solve that problem. They understand the recruitment market inside and out, how agencies actually win clients, how candidates make their decisions, and how RecTech businesses actually scale. So for recruitment agencies, Think in Circles are your fractional marketing team, fixing positioning, sharpening your messaging, and driving consistent execution, but without the cost of a full in-house team. For RecTech suppliers, they solve the hardest growth challenges: go-to-market strategy, demand generation, and land and expand growth in the UK and beyond. So no generic B2B fluff, no random tactics, just recruitment-focused marketing that helps you understand your problem and then provides you a solution on how to fix it. Find them at thinkincircles.com, link in the description below. The recruitment market moves fast. Growth targets are changing, costs are rising, and hiring locally isn't getting any cheaper. In 2025, 30 recruitment agencies stopped overpaying for talent and started scaling smarter using Infinity Staff Global. By outsourcing key roles to South Africa, agencies embedded fully trained recruiters, resources, BD professionals directly into their teams, working UK hours, using your CRM, and delivering real results. You reduce payroll costs, you cut HR and admin burden, you gain access to a deep pool of experienced recruitment personnel and talent, all at a fraction of UK costs. Scale up when demand rises and stay lean when it doesn't. If you're ready to grow without the pressure, discover how at infinitystaffglobal.com, link in the description. I never understood why recruitment businesses that are growing choose to hire a single marketing person who can't do it all, instead of using an outsourced team that can. Also, by contrast, I never really understood why businesses that have got an in-house marketer keep adding headcount rather than strategically outsourcing specialist skills that they need in the team. That's where the marketing junction comes in. They give businesses access to the right marketing expertise at the right time without the overheads of a growing internal team. They specialize in recruitment marketing, which means that they understand how you need to generate new leads, tap into niche and that hard-to-reach talent pool, and build marketing strategies that support both clients and candidates. The result? A lower marketing spend, smarter execution, and a significantly higher return on investment. And if you want proof, the Marketing Junction's hiring savings calculator lets you see for yourself exactly how much you could save by outsourcing strategically instead of hiring again. Link in the description. Are you still wrestling with spreadsheets to calculate your team's commissions every month? Then this next recommendation's for you. Let's be honest, month end can be a total dread for finance teams and a source of sort of guesswork for consultants, right? That's where I highly recommend Conquest. They're a global leader in commission software built specifically for the staffing and recruitment industry. Instead of manual data exports, Conquest plugs directly into your existing CRM or pay and bill system, like Bullhorn, Vincere, JobAdder, you know the lot. And it automates everything from splits down to currency conversions to complex team overrides and clawbacks. But it isn't just about the back office. Conquest brings your commission plans to life with real-time visual dashboards. Consultants get visibility into their earnings pipeline, which doesn't just reduce their inquiries and queries, but actually supercharges and motivates the team too. When your team can see exactly what they're earning at the moment the deal is tracked in the CRM, productivity goes through the roof. The result? Zero error rates, cleaner CRM data, and a massive reduction in the admin burden that comes with calculating these commissions. So say goodbye to spreadsheet headache and get your commission strategy into the 21st century. You can even start with the free health check tool, see how your current setup scores. Details are in the description below. Welcome back to another episode of RecTalk. I'm your host, Nitin Sharma, founder and CEO, all that good shit, of RecTools.io. RecTools, for those of you who don't know, you really should do by now. It's the only whole-of-market directory of the entire recruitment supply chain into your recruitment business or your talent acquisition team. So if you're looking for a new supplier for, I don't know, maybe outsourcing staff to South Africa, maybe you're looking for a business development consultant, maybe you're looking to find out a bit more about IDVT and compliance, maybe you're looking for a new website. Anything you need for your recruitment business, head to RecTools.io. It is the only comprehensive supplier directory that exists in our wonderful, crazy industry. RecTalk is brought to you today by the Team Network. We are proud to be media partners of. We're at the South Central, I believe, regional meeting, which is your gaff, right?
Yep, I'm regional director for South Central, and which basically covers Sussex, Surrey and South London.
Amazing.
So.
For the benefit of those on who aren't in attendance and don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself, please, sir?
Yeah, so my name is John Docherty. I run a recruitment business called ATP Technical, which is all the people. It's a diversity-based recruitment model at the STEM sector, just getting more girls and minority groups looking at STEM careers. Best thing I do is go into schools and tell kids, look at STEM, because it's cool.
Love that. That's enough plugging, right? No more now.
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm Ben Browning and I run a business called Resonant. We help recruitment businesses with their sales strategy, systems and skills, and been doing that for the last 5 years or so. So yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Ross Thompson from Infinity Staff Global.
They know you by now, mate.
We help recruitment businesses here in the UK and Australia scale with using South African talents from overseas.
Just to add, Ross and Infinity are a RecTools recommended supplier, so highly recommend them for their outsourced services.
Thanks, Nitin. I'm Andy Chamberlain. I'm the head of policy at the FCSA. We represent the umbrella companies and we are driving up compliance in the umbrella company market.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me, guys. So today's episode is going to be centered around one really simple thing, which is if we were to class today as day zero and tomorrow is day one of your recruitment business. I know a lot of you in attendance today have been in the industry for decades. I know that some of us have dipped in and out, myself included. What we'll want to do is I want to figure out if tomorrow is day one, what does my new recruitment business look like? If I'm to take another stab at this, if I'm to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, am I just going to carry on what I'm doing at the moment, or do I do things slightly differently? John, do you want to kick us off?
I just knew you were going to throw that at me.
Well, you're the only one who's actively running a recruitment business.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair for you to kind of be like, no, I'd stick to it as it is, and then we'll rip that apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me give you some ammunition to do that. Engineering. I did an engineering apprenticeship. So I love mechanical stuff, electronic stuff, electrical stuff. Used to take it apart. I've just gone back to restoring cars. I've spent the last 2 years doing a couple of cars, mainly for my daughter to learn how to drive in, which has been great. So that wouldn't change. What I think I would change, it's almost like your older self talking to your younger self. And I think it took me years to work out that it's actually okay to speak to a more senior decision maker within the company that I was doing business with or wanted to do business with. MDs do want to talk to me if it's the right topic. Head of department, head of HR. And it took me, I think, maybe 20 years to work out that it's actually okay to talk to senior people because they've got more power, more money, quicker decision making, and that's what I would change from day one.
Just on that then, where do you think the imposter syndrome piece came from? Why did you feel that they wouldn't want to speak to you?
Probably my own self-loathing or lack of confidence.
Being honest, how much of it do you think was down to not actually believing that you were driving or delivering value? Because you're kind of like, well, all I'm really doing is just sending you CV.
Oh, I know exactly what that... Yeah, I did. That's a great question. I know exactly what that's about. I didn't come on here to share everything about me, but I think it's a fear of being told no.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I go back to school and, you know, that pretty girl that I had a crush on, and of course asked her out for a coffee, and she said no, and I always remember it. Julie, where are you now? You know, and I think that's the crusher for me is, it's like that meringue moment, the crushed meringue moment, So yeah,
You're absolutely right though. I used to tell my team all the time, like, just go straight to the top because shit falls down, right? And if your CEO messages you and says, "Can you book a call in with this person? I want you to talk to them about X, Y, and Z." Very few people are gonna be like, "No, I don't think so." Most of them will go, "Actually, shit, the boss told you to do it. I should do it." Ben, you must deal with this objection handling piece around business development, sales, go to market. I don't like to be told no because that's a human trait, right? No one wants to be told no.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got this big thing in the recruitment industry where we talk about this idea of rejection, or rejection being part of the role. From my perspective, there isn't really any rejection that recruiters face if they're doing BD accurately. And that isn't to say that they don't hear people say no, or they don't hear people say, "I don't want to book a meeting with you." But it's the fact that, is that really rejection? I was asked this question by someone in the group earlier around, they were talking about one of their consultants moving to Manchester and opening up a new geography, and how would you approach that, because that person isn't a natural salesperson. And the first thing I would say is, if we were using today as day one, my goal in my BD efforts is not to sell anything. It is to build an understanding of the market. It is to go out and do some research. It's to understand what message lands. And so if I was thinking about starting a new market today, starting a new business today, or even kind of updating my BD strategy, it would be all about creating a research angle. I don't talk about cold calls anymore. I talk about research conversations. How can you go out and learn from the people that you're talking to, create a list of people who you should be doing business with, or believe you should be doing business with, and do research with them to understand out exactly what they need.
Show of hands, how many people here believe that recruitment is a sales business?
yeah.
You're all wrong. Let me plant the seed. Recruitment is a data business. You all speak to multiple candidates in a month, multiple clients in a month. You should be doing, as Ben rightly said, research calls, right? Research conversations. What are your hiring plans? You're speaking to candidates. Why, what's the sentiment? Why are you looking to leave? Why aren't you looking to leave? What are people doing? What are you looking for? That is all valuable data, which if we use the right tech stack properly, you can push out reports, analysis, detailed insights that are valuable to your ICP. McDonald's is not a sales business. It's a restaurant. They sell, right? Argos is not a sales business, but they sell. Everything is sales. Everything in life is sales. That girl that you want to talk to, that's sales. Of course it is, right? But it's also marketing. Recruitment is not a marketing job. Recruitment is not a sales job. Recruitment is not a sales industry. It shouldn't be a sales industry anymore, in my opinion. If I'm going in day one, my recruitment business is a data business. It's a professional service that I can then provide to my clients, whether I'm a localized generalist or whether I'm an inch wide, mile deep specialist in a particular sector. You have more insight than their internal talent team will ever have, because you have the fortune of speaking to a wider range of people. So productize that. EY do it, Deloitte do it, KPMG do it, right? And a lot of the other audit firms do it. Oh, we've got a question.
Totally, because I'm a CFO,
Yeah.
licensed CFOs. This takes decades of understanding it. And what I'm asking from my candidates is basically to contribute to a pool of best practice.
Yeah.
Because even, this is a very wide subject and basic, but very deep, and get worse all the time. So if I'm not authentic in that way, then how can I, my question is, how can I be believed to be the specialist?
And I want to bring you in there, because look, the FCSA is a membership. Umbrella companies have to go through an accreditation to win this, to get their badge of approval, to say, yeah, we're not a dodgy umbrella company, right? You guys aren't selling that. You know what I mean? You're not going out to market going, oh, do you want to buy an FCSA membership? Yeah. This week only, I'll give you it for 25% off.
Yeah.
What's the go-to market from that perspective?
Well, I think the sort of the mission of the FCSA is to drive up compliance in the sector, and there is a need to do it because there has been bad behaviour within that sector, and indeed there still is. So it sort of performs a role in that. But you're quite right, Nitin. It's a bit of a we're not going out and selling constantly because it wouldn't really work.
But there is a transaction thing.
There is, absolutely.
In
We-
exactly
we
the same
only-
way if I'm placing a company.
We survive because of our members and because they want to renew their membership and new umbrella companies want to join us. So you need to have that there, but it's not something that we would go out necessarily in that sense, or that old-fashioned sense of sell. That's just not part of it. But it's a membership organisation. It's a slightly sort of different thing. But what I was just going to say, the theme of the conversation so far has been a lot around understanding your client, and so whether it's that having the confidence to go and speak to the senior person in the client organisation. How do you do that? By demonstrating that you understand their business, you understand what they need. And I suppose, and this is where, forgive me, Nitin, because this isn't the sort of sexiest topic to talk about, but where we are right now, and if I was trying to advise a brand new start-up agency right now, I would say one area that you could look at is around that compliance piece, because there's a lot of concern about that at the moment. I think that demand is going to be there for compliant, sort of low-risk solutions that if you can get if you demonstrate understanding that your client has concerns in that area, if you demonstrate potential solutions there, I think that could be a good route to opening up business
I
possibilities.
think you're absolutely right. There are a lot of changes happening with the Employment Rights Bill, with the umbrella changes, with businesses that are in our localities that hire temp staff, and tend to have them on a temporary contract for maybe 2 years, and then all of a sudden people are leaving and so on and so forth. There's a lot of changes happening. You're not salespeople. You're recruitment professionals. You're a professional service. So clue yourselves up on what these things are. Use your membership that you pay for with Team to get time with people in the know. Put together these white papers and use that as your go-to-market, right? There's your go-to-market strategy. Mr. Founder of a business, Mrs. Founder of a business, Mrs. Head of HR, do you know about these legal changes that are happening? No. Yes, kind of. I'm running a webinar. Do you want to attend? I'm having a breakfast, lunch and learn. Do you want to attend? In fact, I'm in your local area next week. Do you mind if I nip by and just give you some of this information? Because I've spoken to this law firm, this person from the FCSA, this person from this payroll company who's certified and accredited, and we've got a lot of information that could really help your business. No charge. I just want to come and have a coffee with you and go through it, because that's what we do.
I think that's a really good point, Nitin. I think that in coming back again to the original question, I see your revenue engine as having sort of a flywheel that has 4 gears. And the first gear is clarity. That clarity is what do you sell, right? We go on to look at the other 3 are precision, campaigns and conversion. But if we're talking about day 1, then we need to get clarity over what exactly is it we sell. And elite billers, top performers, do not sell the same thing that average recruiters sell. I mentioned to some of you earlier that one of the consultants we work with has just gone through the $1 million billing threshold. We've got a consultant who billed, £1 million last year. He's done $1 million the year before. But his refocus, the first thing that he did when he was sort of building the system that delivered those results was to focus on the clarity of his message around what does he sell. And he looked at his value proposition. Now, lots of recruitment leaders will say it's impossible to have a unique selling point or a unique value proposition in recruitment, which unfortunately has become a bit of a commonly accepted truth, but is a problem. The reality is that your value proposition consists of 3 to 4 elements. The first one is a data point that clearly shows a challenge in the market. Coming back to your point around be it compliance, regulation, the data that you have as a business. Yeah, exactly. There is a data point that sits in your market that perfectly describes why your business exists. Now, it could be, simple example, time to hire has increased by 25% in the last, 18 months. It's a statistic that you can look at with clients, talk about objectively, not feel like you're selling at all. The research question I mentioned earlier, of course, is then, does that bother them? Is that slowing them down? What is that preventing them from doing? The next element of your value proposition is your narrative around that. We've got the data point. Why is it important? Why does it matter? What is the story that makes that something that we need to change? The third part of your value proposition is how do you change it? What is your solution? What is your recruitment methodology? Every single step of the chain of activities that lead you to, in this example, reduce time to hire. And the fourth thing is proof. Where is the data or the stats or the feedback that you get that show and prove that you are able to deliver on that promise? But if we take that point that you've made there around data, around compliance, around whatever it is, there will be something. If I was starting a recruitment business today, the first thing I would look at is why does that business exist? What is the data point that encapsulates that? And then what is the narrative that I can spin around that to actually give my business a real purpose, vision, and mission?
I like that.
My first recommendation for you is Asen. Asen are a modern employer record built specifically for contractor recruitment businesses. Asen helps teams scale fast and stay compliant across the US, Canada, and globally with an all-in-one white label EOR platform. From onboarding and payroll to workers' comp and benefits, Asen handles the entire back office so you can focus on your clients and the talent. To learn more about them, check the link in the description below. My next recommendation is Think in Circles. Job ads are not marketing. AI won't save a bad strategy. Most recruitment agencies and RecTech businesses are failing because they lack activity. They're failing because their marketing's got no clarity, no positioning, and no consistency. That's where Think in Circles comes in. They were built specifically to solve that problem. They understand the recruitment market inside and out, how agencies actually win clients, how candidates make their decisions, and how RecTech businesses actually scale. So for recruitment agencies, Think in Circles are your fractional marketing team, fixing positioning, sharpening your messaging, and driving consistent execution, but without the cost of a full in-house team. For RecTech suppliers, they solve the hardest growth challenges: go-to-market strategy, demand generation, and land and expand growth in the UK and beyond. So no generic B2B fluff, no random tactics, just recruitment-focused marketing that helps you understand your problem and then provides you a solution on how to fix it. Find them at thinkincircles.com, link in the description below. The recruitment market moves fast. Growth targets are changing, costs are rising, and hiring locally isn't getting any cheaper. In 2025, 30 recruitment agencies stopped overpaying for talent and started scaling smarter using Infinity Staff Global. By outsourcing key roles to South Africa, agencies embedded fully trained recruiters, resources, BD professionals directly into their teams, working UK hours, using your CRM, and delivering real results. You reduce payroll costs, you cut HR and admin burden, you gain access to a deep pool of experienced recruitment personnel and talent, all at a fraction of UK costs. Scale up when demand rises and stay lean when it doesn't. If you're ready to grow without the pressure, discover how at infinitystaffglobal.com, link in the description. I never understood why recruitment businesses that are growing choose to hire a single marketing person who can't do it all, instead of using an outsourced team that can. Also, by contrast, I never really understood why businesses that have got an in-house marketer keep adding headcount rather than strategically outsourcing specialist skills that they need in the team. That's where the marketing junction comes in. They give businesses access to the right marketing expertise at the right time without the overheads of a growing internal team. They specialize in recruitment marketing, which means that they understand how you need to generate new leads, tap into niche and that hard to reach talent pool, and build marketing strategies that support both clients and candidates. The result? A lower marketing spend, smarter execution, and a significantly higher return on investment. And if you want proof, the Marketing Junction's hiring savings calculator lets you see for yourself exactly how much you could save by outsourcing strategically instead of hiring again. Link in the description. Are you still wrestling with spreadsheets to calculate your team's commissions every month? Then this next recommendation is for you. Let's be honest, month end can be a total dread for finance teams and a source of sort of guesswork for consultants, right? That's where I highly recommend Conquest. They're a global leader in commission software built specifically for the staffing and recruitment industry. Instead of manual data exports, Conquest plugs directly into your existing CRM or pay and bill system, like Bullhorn, Vincere, JobAdder, you know the lot. And it automates everything from splits down to currency conversions to complex team overrides and clawbacks. But it isn't just about the back office. Conquest brings your commission plans to life with real-time visual dashboards. Consultants get visibility into their earnings pipeline, which doesn't just reduce their inquiries and queries, but actually supercharges and motivates the team too. When your team can see exactly what they're earning, At the moment the deal is tracked in the CRM, productivity goes through the roof. The result? 0 error rates, cleaner CRM data, and a massive reduction in the admin burden that comes with calculating these commissions. So say goodbye to spreadsheet headache and get your commission strategy into the 21st century. You can even start with the free health check tool, see how your current setup scores. Details are in the description below.
It's interesting, right? The one of the things that you said there within that third piece was around kind of your demonstrating what it is you're doing, right? So I'll give you a real life example. I call it show you're working. We're in the AI age. We all know we're in the AI age, you know, and people are becoming less and less trusting of information that they see. That delay on ChatGPT or that delay on Gemini or whatever, that's intentional. It has access to the information and the answer straight away. That delay is to make you think it's thinking, and therefore there's there's thought being put into this. I'll go one step further. There's Notebook LM, which will actually show you the code for the output of, so you ask it for a dashboard, right? Put me a dashboard together for this. It could just go, there you go, there's your dashboard. But it shows you all the code first because it's showing you you're working. In a real life example, before mine and Ross's relationship existed to the extent that it is now, I was looking for member of staff I need. I've decided I'm going to hire in South Africa because my pain point was cost of hiring in the UK is so incredibly high. I'm rarely in the office anyway because I'm always out doing cool shit like this. So I don't need to hire in a 20-mile radius of Coventry. I can hire from anywhere. And then therefore, that barrier of remote hiring isn't a problem for me. Cool. So I'm dealing with Ross and I'm dealing with a third party. The third party send me CVs. Here's the people, they're in budget. Here's their CVs. Ross's team send me, here's the person that we spoke to. Here's the transcript of the conversation that we had with them. Here's my thoughts on them. Here's our kind of concerns maybe, you know, because you said this sort of stuff, but you know, we think it's worth looking at. But here's why. Here's your cost breakdowns. Here's their availability. They showed me their workings, and that was it. That was all it took for me as a buyer to go, I like these guys. This other outfit, by de facto now, looked like they're cowboys, you know. And they might not have been. He might have done all of that work anyway. But because he didn't show me his working, I'm like, no, I don't trust you then.
I've got one comment to add to that, and then I'm going to shut up and let the rest of the panel speak. There's a fantastic author, a guy called Todd Capone, who's been a mentor of mine, who wrote a book called The Transparency Sale. And the idea of the transparency sale, Todd worked for a review company in America. He was the CRO sales leader for that business. And what they found was that across all of their reviews, the products, and I'm sure you'll understand this, but products rated between 4.5 and 4.8 on a 5-point scale sold better than products with a full 5-star rating. When there's a negative review, the product sells better. So when I talked to Todd about this and presenting candidates, he said actually his strategy would be to lead with why the candidate might not be a 10 out of 10 and why in fact they might be a 9 out of 10, but the 9 out of 10, also the reason why you presented that 9 out of 10 candidate to the client. So my point here is, 1, check out Transparency Sale by Todd Capone, and 2, think about when there are examples where you buy things that actually might be rated 4.8 out of 5, and how can you include that weakness in your in the things that you're selling, and that honesty and that transparency.
We know clients they don't hire 10 out of 10s. Generally speaking, people hire the right person for the job that can get it done, right? Personality plays a big part. So yeah, next time you plug your mate's book, I'm going to invoice you, all right?
Well, flaws.
Ross, I want to bring you in here because we had a really interesting conversation off camera.
Yep.
It's day one. How many here, by show of hands, have got members of staff in their team or in their business? And how many have historically had hires? Further, right. How many here have 360 recruiters in their business? Or how many people here consider themselves to be 360 recruiters? Again, here's a seed of doubt, something to think about. The cricket analogy.
Yep.
Cricket teams have all-rounders, but they're always middle of the pack. You have your batsmen and you have your bowlers. My batsmen, can they bowl? Yeah, probably. I'm not putting them out first to bowl. They're there. They're my big hitters. They're there to get me the runs. My bowlers, I want them out first to get my wickets. My all-rounders will fill up the pack as much as they can. But they'll never be the best at either side. They just do the job. We all have this obsession and this boner around 360 recruiters when we know that salespeople are incredibly good salespeople because they find that sexy, they find it enjoyable. That's what they want to do. They want to be out. They want to be at networking events. They want to be talking to people. They want to be conducting meetings. And then the minute you ask them to do some candidate work, I fucking hate it. They never answer. They're so boring. And by contrast, we've got people that are really good at the candidate journey. And they'll make those candidates so sticky to your agency that, okay, they didn't get the job with you on this particular occasion, but they're the first ones in line, answering the phone, responding to messages. And they're the ones we're going, you need to make more BD calls. You're not reaching out to enough clients. So day one, I'd be going, I want my candidate-focused team and I want my client-focused team. Ross, you're speaking to hundreds of recruitment business owners in the last quarter who are all looking at new hires into their business. Are they echoing what I've said, or are you finding that the model is still the traditional 360?
No, definitely. First of all, you were very brave bringing up a cricket analogy when we had to go to the Ashes.
I am ethnically Indian, I get to set them up when I need to.
So we just won't mention the Ashes always, to be in Australia. Didn't do too well either. But yeah, I obviously do speak to a lot of recruitment business owners, and we are finding that people want more of a resourcer or they want more of a salesperson. So they want that. We're dealing with micros and like 1 or 2 man recruitment businesses, and I always say to them, think about what you love to do in the business. Do you love to do the sales side, or do you like to resource the side? Resource. So if you like the sales side, you want to start looking at getting a resourcer for your outsourced partner. If you don't like the sales side and you like resourcing, think about getting a salesperson to drive that, so then they complement you and they're not working against you. So yeah.
Ben, what say you?
Well,
I feel like this might be a contentious one for you.
do you know what? It's not. But I think for so many people, and especially the people in the room, and probably most of the people listening to this, it's a really difficult shift to go from being a 360 recruiter to even think about how can I do just one of those elements. The one thing I will say, and I don't want to say too much on this, one thing I will say is that I genuinely believe and have seen firsthand over the last 5 years so many businesses who feel like we're good when we're in a room, or specking kind of works for us, where when they actually deploy a slightly more sophisticated and far less salesy business development or sales strategy than they fear they're going to need to, get incredibly good results. Most of what I teach, people say to me is, "Gosh, that's much less salesy than I feared we might need to be." And so I think what I would say is, look, if you're thinking about how to build your business around, you need more business development capability, I would start with strategy first and then think about layering in the people, rather than trying to break away from a 360 model to split out sales and delivery, because I think you may well find that actually the sales team really struggle without the right strategy anyway.
John, what are you better at?
I think I'm quite good at getting into the front door eventually, but then it's relationship building. I got into recruitment because I like people, and I worked out very quickly building relationships with candidates was great, but they were quite transactional because most candidates I never saw again, whether I got them a job or not. But the people in my business that I saw all the time and built rapport and relationships was the customer and the decision makers within there. And I think that's where my strength was, and where most of my growth and revenue has come from because of that.
So if you were hiring tomorrow, would you go 360? Would you go, I need a candidate-focused person? Or would you go, actually, I've got the strategy down on how to open up client doors.
Yeah.
Let me teach you how to do this, and you go out and win me double the business I'm winning now.
Yeah, I think if you're starting from scratch, you've got to go for growth. And obviously, any pound is a big percentage on what you had before. So you need a salesperson, without doubt. I think Ben's right in terms of strategy. Where do you want to be? What industry? Which I guess means sector, industry, companies. Frankly, the companies I always targeted, and I still do, are the ones that I called sexy engineering. They just did something that was really interesting, and made my candidate look good down at the pub. So I deal with companies who make rocket-propelled ejection seats, advanced physics for cancer treatment, and there's a stem cell research firm I've just started dealing with in the last year, and I just like talking about those opportunities to candidates, because that's a lot better than another agency they're talking to about a role with a ball bearing factory or something. So there's that. And I think as a recruiter, if you're interested in what a customer does, I think that naturally migrates itself to the way you talk to the candidate.
People in the right places, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a self-professed STEM geek and you like these conversations.
I love it. Yeah.
You're going to be better at those things than getting somebody in that's like, listen, I spent 20 years selling ball bearings.
Yeah, if that's their
I
thing.
can sell this.
Yeah.
No. I need somebody who's really into this.
I agree.
Than a out-and-out salesperson who can spin anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I think you've got to dig what you do, and that because I go to schools and I talk to the kids about career path choices, and I said, whatever you choose to do, make it something that you love, because you're going to have to do it for 40 years. So if you pick a career choice or a recruitment market or whatever choice you want to make in life, you're going to have to do it for 40 years, and so you better love it.
I disagree with that so much.
Right, we need to talk afterwards. Yeah.
I was in retail banking. I sold mobile phones.
Yeah.
I worked in recruitment. I ran my own recruitment agency. Now I run a fucking media business.
Yeah, but I think
I can do what I want.
But
you can't tell me I can stay
I would never do that, Nitin. But I suspect that the choices that you've made and the changes you've made is into something that you loved.
Oh yeah.
If not at the time, certainly what you were attracted to.
Yeah.
And if you exhausted it or just got bored with it and you found something else and changed, you're still following that path. So you're just doing different things for 40 years, but you've still got a mortgage to pay. You've still got a car to fund and all those other things, and you want to have a holiday. So, I think the start point is always try and remind the kids. It's all about the kids for me. You've got to give them an idea that it's important to pick something that you love. Whether that changes or not in the future doesn't matter, but just pick what you love, not because it looks like it pays more.
Change is important though, because actually the FCSA have gone through this recently where you've got the new tool you've launched that is more...
Hey?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Very Pay, yeah. And that's been a direct response to the market, which is we need compliance on our on our payroll kind of instantaneously, not just I passed the compliance 6 months ago, so they're not likely to come around again, so now I can start doing some jiggery pokery. I think change is really key, because acknowledging that the route you've gone down is maybe the tunnel's narrowing, and these aren't quite the same. Everyone I speak to is 2025 was rubbish. All right, cool. So we did one of these up in Manchester, Northwest. In fact, it's on the channel. Our employees go and watch it, because I will ask you guys as well in a minute. I asked people in the audience, okay guys, like rank the year out of 10, right? No 7s, rank it out of 10. Most were 5s and 6s. Cool. How many of you have done something different this year or tried something different this year? 2 people out of a room of 50. Okay. How many of you are willing to try something new this year? 1 out of 50. And I'm like, why the fuck do you think you had a 5 to 6 year? Like, what are you blaming here? What are we looking at, right? You've got to start doing things differently. And I think that mindset that you talk about, the kind of like, you stick to this because you're going to have to, I think 2026 and beyond, it's about unlearning that, because the tech landscape's moving so quickly.
Yeah.
And the markets are changing so quickly, and social economic climate's changing so rapidly that you need to be able to be agile and pivot. Right, this is not working, I need to do something else. If a business the size of FCSA can go, crap, people want like tomorrow, answers tomorrow. If Ross can sit there and go, I mean, I can keep getting 360 recruiters, but more and more people are asking for, a split. They want their batters and their bowlers, And if Ben can go from, we argued 2 years ago about is recruitment a sales call and BD calls and outreach, cold calling in recruitment, to now you go, actually, no, do you know what? No, the market's changed, and we've amended and adapted what we do.
Yeah, I mean, and that's absolutely true. Like our the way I think about sales strategy has evolved with all of the evidence and data that we've got from our clients over the last 5 years and continues to. I think one of the interesting things that you mentioned a moment ago is like when we talk about sales, when we talk about BD, when we talk about sales strategy, actually, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what that really is. And I mean, look, the salespeople that I would want to see in your business today, the best billers and the kind of elite performers that I work with right now are better marketers than anything else. They have a sales role. Their role is responsible for generating revenue. And yes, they're making what you might describe as cold calls. And yes, they're doing a lot of first touch conversations with people because they absolutely have to. They're using those to build organizational intelligence that then shapes their value proposition going forward. They're using all 4 elements of the kind of the GTM flywheel, from clarity to precision through campaigns into conversion. They're constantly engineering that. But you know, I mean, 5 years ago, we would have described them as marketing people rather than sales. So, yeah, I totally agree with that point on change.
Let's talk about tech and AI in tech tools. How many of you guys here, again, show of hands, are actively using AI on a daily basis as part of your business? Would anyone like to be brave enough to tell us in what capacity and how?
I write something in my own words and then I ask it to give me a better version.
Okay. And is that for BD outreach? Is that for LinkedIn posts
LinkedIn
or
posts.
diary entries?
Yeah, LinkedIn posts and
Okay.
emails, introductory emails. It's interesting what you were saying about changing, and I had been one of those that would have said I was having a 0 year last year. It was actually coming to a team meeting that took me from a 0 back up to maybe a 5 or 6, and why I'm still here, and why I came away having found new technology that helped inspire me to reinvent myself after 35 years.
All of that. Anyone else want to share what they're doing with AI at the moment? Please.
So we're doing it differently with the community and those founders that we've got data on. But when a CFO who's expensive goes to client, or they're reaching out, or the recruiters for them, basically they've got to mention something about their relative financial position, limited stuff from Company's House, but actually do it. And that's hard legs for the candidates. So basically we're getting the AI against 30 metrics of covenants to basically say you in our data set, you are below the average. You're below the average. You wouldn't pass covenants on some funding. You wouldn't be accepted by a buyer. Empowering them with AI stuff there.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Anyone else want to share? Please.
Just use it to help create CVs or to sanity check CVs sometimes. I use it to put together pitches, emails. I write a lot of it out in my own words, a bit like you were saying, and then get it to sometimes just make it better. Or
Make you sound a bit more clever.
Or I'll, like I've just started to use Pager, which is obviously based around that, and that's quite good because you can put in a job spec and a candidate and ask for it to kind of look where when you've interviewed that person, right? So a bit like you were saying earlier, I do all my own notes. So when I send CVs to the client, I actually attach why I'm matching. I do the transparency piece.
Show you're working. Yeah.
I always look at, so these are my hesitations from a team fit or skill fit or blah, where you might have to invest in them for them to be up to speed. So, and just kind of using AI to kind of like sometimes condense that because I can waffle. And you get kind of carried away if you interviewed somebody really good and you really want to get them in there, but I still don't want to just send a CV and say just interview. Although I'll pick up the phone and do that, but when you're having
for context and stuff.
So I use it quite a lot for that, and then with Pager obviously now for things on LinkedIn, finding stuff, finding job opportunities, and just speed things up. And I have used it as well to just do things like sanity check all my terms and conditions and contracts for service and things that I'd normally have to pay a ton of money for, or at least then I can go to somebody and say, I've got this and I don't think this.
Yeah, you're not using it to fix the issue, but certainly to highlight it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Rather
So
than
it
paying
helps
the
to kind of
triage
visualize
fee, so to speak.
exactly
Yeah.
that. So that's what I use it for.
We've got one more use case at the back, and then I'll.
Yeah, I suppose I can't specialise in AI automation. So I use it right through the whole supply chain, from the beginning, just writing all my social media stuff, and I've taught it how to understand my tone of voice and everything else, and that creates and drafts a lot of stuff. It takes a lot of investment in the AI to get the system to give you the information in the format that you want. I then use that to identify another AI to look at change pager, to identify opportunities. So I'm getting the AI to do all the heavy lifting. So I'm just focusing on the bit that I need to do, which is the talking to the candidate and talking to the client. Obviously, not all of it is fully linked up, but it's pretty good. And then I use AI for note-taking. That's plugged into my CRM. So I use Quill, but I know there are loads of others. So that joins,
Co-recruit, you mean?
joins every single call that I join, and it puts notes straight into my CRM. And then I'd have to worry about writing notes, because my calls can be 20 minutes when they used to be an hour. Because I spend 20 minutes of the call writing notes while they're just sitting there waiting for me to finish writing my notes, whereas now I can just literally 20-minute call, and then at the back it gives me my summary in the format that I've designed it to be, which I can send out straight to the candidate, and I've got my notes that I can then digest and turn into what I want. And then, there's other stuff that I do, which is just in terms of marketing and creation of images to support.
Yeah, so you're using it quite centrally. Is there anyone here not using AI in the team, in the business? No, good. I was going to say, again, taking it back to the point of this episode, day one, I would use AI to co-pilot everything in your business. Everything, right? If you want to know about things like Microsoft's Copilot, you've got someone like Can, who comes to almost every team regional, pick his brains, and he will give you all the things that you need to know at low cost. You don't have to, Pager are great. There are a lot of products out there which are basically just OpenAI in a wrapper, and you're paying for them to make it look pretty. There's a lot of ways to start using AI and just elevating what you're doing. And that's exactly what I'd be looking at, right?
Yeah, there's just one other thing that I would like to share, and I've mentioned this in the team chat group as well, actually. But if you run a small business, if you're a solo or run a small business, I cannot highly recommend looking at vibe coding enough. So I'll give you an example, right? So vibe coding is where you want to build a website, and instead of having to pay somebody to do it, you effectively use an AI prompt to create the website for you. Now, yesterday afternoon, I realised I needed to do a slide deck for a live talk that I'm giving tomorrow. Don't ask about the details, the sequence of those things. But I didn't really want to do the slide deck, and I've been putting it off because I hate doing slide decks. So I decided that I was going to vibe code a tool, an app, that will take the text input from the talk, the script and the notes that I'm going to be using, and turn that into a series of slides. And the result that it's spat out 35 minutes later is what I will be using in, by the way, little plug, live talk tomorrow, LinkedIn Live at 12:30. So you can tell me what you think of the slides. But vibe coding gives you the opportunity to create tools for replicable parts of your business on an ongoing basis. I'll just give you one more example of that. I talk a lot about what is your recruitment process and methodology. With a client a couple of weeks ago, we were on a call and we vibe coded a dashboard. And that dashboard shows their clients, so employers, what stage of the recruitment process you're at and what steps have been completed, which candidates are in process and a little link to their profile, which stages are yet to be completed and which stakeholders need to be involved in those. It's a simple dashboard, one screen, with a couple of things that employers can click on. They can now share that with their client, and it hosts the whole recruitment process. A bit like a deal room. We vibe coded that in 50 minutes for something like 100 credits, which I think probably comes out to about £3.50. So I'm fully on board on the vibe coding wagon, and I've been exploring it for the last 12 months. If you ever feel like there are tools that you don't have that you'd like access to, or there's things you'd like to present to a client that you feel like you're doing very manually, I absolutely consider having a look at it. So
yeah. Tech enablement, I think, again, for day one of my recruitment business is going to be right at the forefront, because I want my people doing the thing that they're good at, which is be people, not spending time filling out forms, updating a CRM so that I can look at it and go, oh, that wasn't a very good conversation. Can you got your hand up? We're going to go to questions in a minute. Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's great having white coding, etc. out there, but as a recruitment business, there needs to be ownership of that piece. It shouldn't be something that you push out to your staff or other members of staff, because what happens then is governance becomes an issue. you have leakiness from the business, and a lot of other risks associated. So it needs to be governed from a perspective, but obviously for solos, as you mentioned, it probably is a less of a matter for bigger businesses. Yeah.
So Buzz Killington over here who will tell you more about what you can't do with AI. Right. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add? Let's go and kind of wrap up the episode, then we'll go to questions from everyone else.
I would just say that 2026 is definitely. I hate to be the guy that goes about compliance all the time, but there is a.
It's kind of your job. You're going to be like, what did you talk about? Not compliance.
Do something cooler, but there's a lot coming down the pipeline. So if you don't sort of know about it already, you really should know about it. And the one thing I would say is turn it into an opportunity. I think there is an opportunity here. Demonstrate to your clients that you're on top of this. Provide a solution to them. It could give you a competitive edge. Don't make it just a box ticking exercise.
I guess my biggest piece of advice is don't look at the traditional model. So use your resources wisely. Obviously, South African talent is a lot cheaper, but you're getting quality talent out there to be able to scale quickly. So
yeah, no, I'll echo that. Look, prices, we know this. Price is only an issue in the absence of value, right? Do not hire people out in the Philippines, South Africa, or anywhere else for that matter, because it's a cheap thing to do. That is not the way forward. Somebody asked me the other day, like, wow, your growth of kind of what you're doing over the last year and a half has been exponential. Like, what do you put that down to? Bear in mind, I've never managed a remote team, a remote business, or had staff abroad. I think where most businesses have gone wrong is that they try to grow their recruitment business with that 40 hours a week, 5 days in the office mindset, but then hire people in South Africa or the Philippines or India or wherever because it's the cheaper thing to do, and then scratch their heads and wonder why it's not working. This is about refocusing, as I say, so the genesis of your recruitment business. I'm starting, today's day zero, tomorrow's day one. I need to do a lot of things differently. That's what I would do. I'd go, okay, what exactly am I and how am I going to enjoy that, right? I have a saying in this, in that you could spend 6 weeks doing cold business development, getting told, no, get off the phone, why are you calling me, where did you get this number from, for 6 weeks and not bill a penny, right? And we've all had that. We've all had 6 weeks of nothingness and gone, oh my God, what's happening? Or you could spend 6 weeks having interesting, fun conversations with interesting, cool people and still not bill anything. Which would you rather be? If the end result's the same, would you rather not go, well, I enjoyed the last 6 weeks and I've got a love for this business again and for what I do, and actually maybe the fruits of this labour will pay off. But yeah.
Yeah, look, I mentioned it before, but the 4 gears in your kind of sales and revenue flywheel are, number one, having clarity over that value proposition. Do you have data, narrative, methodology, and proof that sticks together that makes you unignorable? That's the first step, is just to be unignorable by having that right. The second thing is getting that message in front of the right people, and that's about precision. And that is also, I think, for many of you here will recognize this, what kind of business do you want to build and which kind of customers do you actually want? So a bar that we set for most of the businesses I work with is don't go after a client. Don't put a client on your sales BD outreach list unless you think that business is likely to be worth something like £30,000 to you a year. That's based on, let's say, an average biller, an average recruiter who we want to get to £360,000 revenue per year. If they have 12 clients worth £30,000 a year, that's how they get there. So why have they got on their BD list a company who's hiring today? Why are they worried about whether a company is hiring today? The real thing they should be focused on is whether that company is going to hire 4 or 5 times in the next 12 months and whether they can work with them exclusively or retain.
And the trick is, the only way to know that is to open up those conversations by delivering value of, hey, I've got some market insights. Hey, I've got some really cool things happening in the industry that you maybe don't know about. Can we have a conversation? Can we have a coffee? Right?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I don't think that people necessarily looking at an industry would go, I'm not sure which of these companies are going to hire 4 or 5 times in the next 12 months. Startups and scale-ups, include maybe on some kind of funding route, is a little bit different. But most businesses, you can know by looking at a lot of their markers as to whether they're going to hire in that kind of ballpark, whether they're worth having on the list at least. The third element of the flywheel is campaigns. Got to do some BD, right? We've got to pick up the phone. Like 70% of the meetings that my clients book come from picking up the phone. Voice notes, yes. Videos, yes, absolutely. WhatsApp, yes. Sending photos to their clients in their emails, yes, absolutely. But 70% of the meetings come from phone calls. So we've got to be having those conversations and frame them around research. And the final part is conversion, which is much more straightforward when you know how to weaponize your methodology. There are some recruiters in here in the room, if I heard correctly, who have been in the industry for not just 10 or 20 years, but maybe even 30 and 40. I suspect that by now you know how to recruit. What I don't know, and what I see very frequently, is businesses who are incredible recruiters, but whose clients wouldn't be able to tell you how your process differs from the new rookie on the block. That's where the conversion gap is. That's why we're not winning more exclusivity and retain. So, yeah, day one, building a business, I'd be looking at those 4 elements in the flywheel and thinking, how can I strategically and sensibly, and using some technology as well, go through those gears to, in the next 90 days, get from clarity to conversion.
And all that. Thank you very much for that comprehensive response. Send us home, mate. Come on.
Well,
What are you doing
I'm.
differently from tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely nothing.
if only that paid. If only that paid. The best paid job in the world. I think, yeah, do what you love. I think the conversion piece and doing things that are important and enjoyable is great, but I think at the end of the day, on a Friday or at the end of the week, the end of the month, end of the quarter, has it converted into pounds and pence? Because at the end of the day, we all need that, and I think that's some. I think some people, whether you're recruitment or running a business or running a desk or just choosing a job, if it's not paying the bills, then either you do something different or stop. You know, give up and try something else.
Try something else.
You know, because
Spin up the media business. They seem to be all right.
yeah. But I mean, we talked whether it's, is recruitment, sales, business development, relationship building, and everything else. It's got to generate some money.
Yeah. There's no better way to end that. I love that. That's all from us. I want to thank the panel. I want to thank the team for hosting us, and thank you for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, We're doing all the cool shit that you guys do that allow me to do this cool shit for a job. We'll see you again next time. New episodes drop every Wednesday and every Friday. Ciao.
Guys, thank you so much for that.
My first recommendation for you is Asen. Asen are a modern employer record built specifically for contractor recruitment businesses. Asen helps teams scale fast and stay compliant across the US, Canada, and globally with an all-in-one white label EOR platform. From onboarding and payroll to workers' comp and benefits, Asen handles the entire back office so you can focus on your clients and the talent. To learn more about them, check the link in the description below. My next recommendation is Think in Circles. Job ads are not marketing. AI won't save a bad strategy. Most recruitment agencies and RecTech businesses are failing because they lack activity. They're failing because their marketing's got no clarity, no positioning, and no consistency. That's where Think in Circles comes in. They were built specifically to solve that problem. They understand the recruitment market inside and out, how agencies actually win clients, how candidates make their decisions, and how RecTech businesses actually scale. So for recruitment agencies, Think in Circles are your fractional marketing team, fixing positioning, sharpening your messaging, and driving consistent execution, but without the cost of a full in-house team. For RecTech suppliers, they solve the hardest growth challenges: go-to-market strategy, demand generation, and land and expand growth in the UK and beyond. So no generic B2B fluff, no random tactics, just recruitment-focused marketing that helps you understand your problem and then provides you a solution on how to fix it. Find them at thinkincircles.com, link in the description below. The recruitment market moves fast. Growth targets are changing, costs are rising, and hiring locally isn't getting any cheaper. In 2025, 30 recruitment agencies stopped overpaying for talent and started scaling smarter using Infinity Staff Global. By outsourcing key roles to South Africa, agencies embedded fully trained recruiters, resources, BD professionals directly into their teams, working UK hours, using your CRM, and delivering real results. You reduce payroll costs, you cut HR and admin burden, you gain access to a deep pool of experienced recruitment personnel and talent, all at a fraction of UK costs. Scale up when demand rises and stay lean when it doesn't. If you're ready to grow without the pressure, discover how at infinitystaffglobal.com. Link in the description. I never understood why recruitment businesses that are growing choose to hire a single marketing person who can't do it all instead of using an outsourced team that can. Also, by contrast, I never really understood why businesses that have got an in-house marketer keep adding headcount rather than strategically outsourcing specialist skills that they need in the team. That's where the marketing junction comes in. They give businesses access to the right marketing expertise at the right time without the overheads of a growing internal team. They specialize in recruitment marketing, which means that they understand how you need to generate new leads, tap into niche and that hard to reach talent pool, and build marketing strategies that support both clients and candidates. The result? A lower marketing spend, smarter execution, and a significantly higher return on investment. And if you want proof, the Marketing Junction's hiring savings calculator lets you see for yourself exactly how much you could save by outsourcing strategically instead of hiring again. Link in the description. Are you still wrestling with spreadsheets to calculate your team's commissions every month? Then this next recommendation's for you. Let's be honest, month end can be a total dread for finance teams and a source of sort of guesswork for consultants, right? That's where I highly recommend Conquest. They're a global leader in commission software built specifically for the staffing and recruitment industry. Instead of manual data exports, Conquest plugs directly into your existing CRM or pay and bill system, like Bullhorn, Vincere, JobAdder, you know the lot. And it automates everything from splits down to currency conversions to complex team overrides and clawbacks. But it isn't just about the back office. Conquest brings your commission plans to life with real-time visual dashboards. Consultants get visibility into their earnings pipeline, which doesn't just reduce their inquiries and queries, but actually supercharges and motivates the team too. When your team can see exactly what they're earning at the moment the deal is tracked in the CRM, productivity goes through the roof. The result? 0 error rates, cleaner CRM data, and a massive reduction in the admin burden that comes with calculating these commissions. So say goodbye to spreadsheet headache and get your commission strategy into the 21st century. You can even start with the free health check tool, see how your current setup scores. Details are in the description below.